What's up, everybody? Dan Tortora hanging out with you here and doing a new thing called Reiss's Pieces. Now, some of you saw that on our social media get uploaded there, Reiss's Pieces, so you got to see it and experience what that exactly is. It's Tammi Reiss that's going to be joining me here, and I'm very excited to have her. She's going to be joining me every other Monday, I should say. Every other Monday, she'll be joining us here with Reiss's Pieces. Very excited about the opportunity to do this with Tammi and to bring her on here. So it means a lot to me. And, you know, for those of you that don't know Tammi Reiss, she's the head coach of the women's basketball team at Rhode Island with the Rhode Island Rams. And she was a former assistant coach for Syracuse Orange women's basketball. She's an incredible human being, a fantastic person, and I'm very, very much looking forward to doing this with her. We're going to do it every other Monday. So, you know, basically you set it, say, okay, so Monday, March 1st, we have it. So then we'll have it again March 15th and then keep going, so on and so forth from there. And I'm really excited to be able to do this. So we're going to bring Tammi on now to share this moment with Miss Reiss. We can get her on here. We wait for her here for a second and bring her on camera. Here we go. Hello, Tammi. How we doing?
Hey, how are you, Dan? I'm good.
Look at what I'm wearing.
It looks good on you. That Keeny blue brings out the brown in your eyes.
Yeah, that's what we got to do. So I was just telling everybody that every other Monday we're doing a thing called Reiss's Pieces. And it's a play off of your last name, obviously, Reiss, and the opportunity for us to bring our pieces to people's lives, to talk about things that matter to us inside and outside of the sports world, to bring pieces together from my life, pieces from your life, to hopefully put together a puzzle where we can help someone have a better day, a better week, a better situation, whatever it may be. You know, we're about the positivity that we can bring, and I am elated and so thankful that you agreed to do this with me.
Well, I'm so excited, Dan. And, you know, I just thought when you presented it, it was an unbelievable idea. And again, you know, I pull positivity. I pulled one this morning from Kara Lawson from Duke, just wisdom and advice. And everyone needs to pick me up every now and then. And we have enough negativity going on in the world that if we can bring a smile, a laugh to one person, well, then, you know, we paid it forward and we made a change. So thank you for having me so much. I thought it was an incredible idea, and I'm humbled to be joining you.
And so I just told everybody, you know, how often we're going to do this every other Monday. So you set it to that, folks. A Monday, then jump, and then we go to another one. So Monday the 1st, we're starting things, and then we'll go. We'll go to Monday the 15th. No, you're okay. We'll go on Monday the 1st. We'll do a Monday the 15th, and then we'll continue to go on from there. Every other Monday, we'll be here with you. Tammi, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but why do you think it's important that we do this?
Well, again, I just think that, you know, if you can, sorry, I'm on my phone. I got 50 million messages coming through from the game last night. But again, if you can just share your experiences, what's worked for you in your life, what's working for you now currently. And again, bring some positivity in the world today to people who really need it and are searching for it. You know, that's why I think it's important that we do it and we share our life experiences. We share what's worked for us, and maybe we can help other people and kind of help them get on the right track and through our wisdom, through our experiences. So again, I believe in paying it forward and giving back and trying to help people.
Yeah. So here with Tammi Reiss, I'm wearing the proper attire, the Rhode Island basketball. You got it on too, Rhode. I love Rhode. When did Rhode Island start doing the Rhode thing?
You know, it was a while ago. You know, I've only been here 2 years, and so it's been Rhode, go Rhode for forever. So I'm thinking quite a few years ago. Rhode Rams. It's just an abbreviation, kind of like CUSE. It's catchy, it sticks, and so I'm not really sure about the year, but it's been a while. Because I remember it even when I'd hear about the Rams maybe 10, 20 years ago, they said Rhode. So it's been a long time. It's a nice little abbreviation.
Yeah, you know, and so Tammi, Reiss, and myself, Dan Tortora, here with Reiss's Pieces every other Monday. Tammi, before we get into some of the things off of the basketball court, because as people should know, Wake Up Call, my tagline has always been where sports meets life. You and I embody that because we utilize sports as a vehicle to essentially bring, I always say, like, I use sports as my vehicle, but I put in it faith, comedy, humility, community, love. I'm throwing stuff in that car trying to bring that to somebody's house and to help out where we can. So we'll be on and off the world of sports, but to stay on it for a second, last year, right around this time, in my world around March 9th of 2020, things changed. Right, I was supposed to go down to the ACC tournament. Something in my gut told me not to go, and they ended up canceling the tournament a couple days later. It was the first time I haven't been down to the tournament forever, and I miss it. And now here we are a year later, and the tournaments are going on again. We're seeing basketball come through again. You're coaching and doing your thing again. What can you say to men's and women's basketball, boys and girls basketball around our country that stopped and now has the opportunity to do something this year, which is have a postseason, which did not happen last year?
Well, I think first and foremost, you have to be grateful. You just have to be thankful and grateful that you're having the opportunity to play, because, a lot of teams aren't, both high school and college. So the first is just being grateful. And really understanding the time you're in. Cherish every moment. And I try to give that wisdom to our girls every day. If you're thankful and grateful, you'll have a great day. And if you're living the moment, because you never know, tomorrow it can be taken away. And we experienced that. So I told them we really needed to learn from that last year when that got taken away from our men. We had our tournament. Our men did not in the Atlantic 10. And so I told our girls, we may not have a season, and we had a season. Now, you've got to play every day like it's your last, every practice like it's your last, and live in the moment, because you never know when it can be taken away from you. So, the biggest thing is be grateful for what you do have. Everyone looked at the pandemic as such a negative. God, we've got to isolate. We don't get to do this. We don't get to do that. And everyone just complained. And I said it yesterday on one of my interviews. Our girls were so thankful that they got to come in the gym every day and practice, that it brought us closer together as a team, because we spent more time together. We went through this together. And again, positivity, gratefulness, and thankfulness got us through this. And I was honest. This has not been a rough time for me. It's devastating. So many people have lost their lives. So many people I know have gotten sick. But me personally, it's been a time of growth, and it's been a time of really coming together for my family and my basketball team. And so we used it as a catalyst and a positive. And I truly think it was our outlook that got us through it in a really easy manner as compared to some of the other teams. So my advice is, if you could have kept that positivity and the thankfulness and really live in the moment, it went fast and it got you through it. And it turned out to be a great experience for us.
Yeah, I'd have to echo your sentiments and say this year has made me the best version of myself. I started off 2020, and I told people this before, I started off 2020 and some people saw me really, I hit a wall, and I went through a breakup, and it made me see a lot of things about my life. And when I hit that wall, it was as Corona was kind of coming in to the country. And so I had to be alone. And then I had to be alone with my thoughts of things that were already bothering me. And I felt trapped. And, there's that feeling trapped physically, like you feel trapped in your brain, figuratively, and then feeling like trapped in the house. So I walked to try and please somebody else. I walked to try and do something for somebody else, to prove something. And I walked because I just was driving myself crazy. And then after a few days, I was like, I want to walk for me. I want to walk for me 10 days, 20 days. 40 days in, I want 500,000 steps. It was 600,000. 80 days, I said, okay, 80 days, I want 1,000,000 steps. It was over 1,000,000. And I just kept going. And then this past week, I averaged 15,000 steps a day. And I had to get at least 10,000 a day. And now my body is more muscular. I am lean. I dropped 12 pounds at least. Like, I am in the best shape of my life. I look the best that I feel like I've looked in my life. I told my aunt, I looked in the mirror a few months back, a year or so. I said, I looked in the mirror and I actually liked the way I looked. And she goes, what are you talking about? You've always liked the way you look. You've always been a good looking guy. You know, you're positive. I said, I didn't like the way I looked. And she said, none of us knew that. But I knew that. And I knew that my brain wasn't working with me. It was working against me. I knew I wasn't feeling good. I was always seeking other people to make me feel better. And now I'm that person. So without Corona and without hitting a wall before that, I went through so much. My parents got divorced. I got divorced at the same time. My grandmother passed away. The love of my life, everything to me. That happens. Then you fast forward, breakup happens, Corona happens. God hit my reset button at least twice. And I used that time to sit here today to say, Tammi, I would never even have had this idea for Reiss's Pieces unless I thought I was positive enough to carry this myself and be a voice for other people who don't have one. So this world has taught me so much. And I obviously just put it all out there because I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I'm a human being. I have regular life experiences, and I would not be the man I am today if I didn't get kicked in the pants a couple times.
Well, you know, that's an incredible journey. It's an incredible story. And I was the same way. This time last year, the end of the season was, I just took over the program. We went through our first year. It was terribly challenging. Stepping in, trying to create a culture, trying to get kids to buy in. We were on like a 6-game losing streak. We end the season with a playing game in the Atlantic 10, and we get annihilated by Duquesne. And, you know, as confident as a person I am, it was very difficult. I was in a very negative space at that time. I felt like I was a loser. I felt like I wasn't making a difference in the kids' lives, that they weren't buying in. There's all these feelings. And we end the season, and then not a couple of days later, Corona hits. And I got to step away. Normally I go roll right into recruiting. There is no reset button. It's like Groundhog Day every year. Season, recruiting, summer condition, and we just go. And instead I got to really sit down and relive the season and all the good things we did, not just the bad things, and really focus on my mental health, like you, getting out and just killing it every day, twice a day, with nature and exercise, spending time with my family, and hitting that reset button on getting my mind right, on not being so negative. And it was a really challenging time for me. Yours much more so than mine. Mine was more, I almost said, feeling sorry for myself, that my expectations weren't met within myself. But same thing, I had to reset my mind, especially. And for me, exercise helps me do that.
Yeah.
And just spending time with my own thoughts, writing in a journal, planning, prep, listening to other people's podcasts, reading John Gordon books, and just trying to steal from people who have been successful and how they've overcome their challenges, and really helped me go, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Start to use how they overcame things, how they succeeded. So similar to you, that the pandemic was really a reset button for me.
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, we did lose so many lives and so many people suffered. And like you, I had a lot of friends that went through it. Some of my dearest friends, and scared the heck out of me. One of my friends didn't tell me until well after. One of my friends, I called him, and he always calls me back, and called him to be on my show, and I hadn't heard back from him. And I ended up getting a message from him to say, hey, you know, I've been sick. I've been in the hospital, and then his son was kind of letting me know, and then I didn't hear anything for a little while. I got scared about the thought that he wouldn't be here. Not scared, but concerned. And so, I mean, you see all that, but Tammi, I know that I have to do this, and I don't know if you have to do this, but there's times where, and I had it this past week, where like I'm sitting here going, I wake up every day and my job is to play. I play, right? I broadcast sports, I broadcast entertainment, I broadcast Disney. My job is to go to Disney and to be a giant kid, but I get to use it's my actual job to go to a restaurant and talk about it, to go on a ride and review it and speak on it. Like everything I loved as a kid, playing basketball, going to Disney, reading comic books, that's now my job at 35 years old. So I don't know how to be more thankful for that, but I was feeling sorry for myself this week. I was complaining, and I got a phone call from my mom, and she said, I want to remind you how amazing your last week was and how much you said you needed this for so long, and now you have it. Are you going to let anything ruin it? And that to me was so, it pushed me, and I came to the conclusion of something, Tammi. I gave myself advice, and I want to know what you think about this statement, but I wish I told myself 35 years ago. If something is meant to be, nothing can stop it. If something is not meant to be, everything can stop it. And that gave me peace that I had to remind myself about. That one statement made me say to myself, okay, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not going to happen, it won't.
People who have faith and a belief, number one, in a higher power, that, I've always believed if you work hard enough and you focus yourself enough on what you want to achieve, that you can make it happen. I do believe in the secret. I do believe positivity attracts positivity, like attracts like, and you can speak something into fruition. And I believe that with all my heart, because it's always happened for me. It's never not happened. And if it didn't, it did happen once. I got to be honest with you, Dan. We never won a national championship at Virginia. We didn't. And I spent my whole life preparing for it. Usain Bolt had a great quote once, Dan. He said, I trained 4 years for 8 seconds, 9 seconds. I trained 4 years of my life. And if he didn't win the gold, is he a complete failure? And that's where you also have to have some kind of sense of, realism, that even though I didn't win a national championship, I spoke it into fruition. I played in it. I got there. And just because I didn't win it doesn't make me a loser. But that's why I always believe at some point, you got to give it your all in order to make it happen. And, I'm a firm believer in that. And so for you, that statement, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. You also can really put yourself in the position for it to be meant to be, or it not. It's just not. I don't believe it's just God's will. If you're going to be where you are today. No, you worked at it very, very hard. And I believe that. I believe if you want to I wanted to be a head coach. I didn't sit back and wait for people to call me. I went out and I worked hard. I reached out to the schools I wanted. I made it happen. So, I believe in that. I believe you have a hand in your faith and you can speak it into fruition. That's why positivity, this, what we're doing today, and having people in your life that support you and push you, even on days where you're going, I feel sorry for myself. It's really, really important. And I have so many people. I have my parents. I have my coaching staff. I have my significant other. I have everybody that believes in me, that when I'm feeling that little low, boy, they pick you back up and they put you on that pedestal and they keep you focused. And we all need that.
Yeah, and I think the thing for me, and we are very much who we are. You know what I mean? And I've always been an open book. And I think for me, you know, kind of what I alluded to before, that I had been married, you know, I'm 35. When I was a kid, I said, when I'm 25, I'm going to have my first kid. I wasn't married at 25. I didn't, and I still don't have kids. And I think I told my dad, I said, I go through moments where like, I really, really want to be a dad, not just to anybody, not in any situation, in the right one. But I think the thing of like, if it's meant to be, nothing can stop it. I've been the guy that's always come to the table more often than not. There's one that sticks out where I'm like, you know what, that was my bad. But I come to the table, but you can't make another person come to the table. So you say like, wish it in, you know, like you say if it's meant to be, it'll be, but then you got to show up. I show up, and I'm always going, is finding that person that values who you are, because everybody talks about the type of person that they want. But when you get a guy who wants to be your knight in shining armor, who wants to do anything and everything for you, in the world we live in today, Tammi, I can honestly tell you, they say they want it, but it, you know, it's crazy. And I was brought up by my grandfathers, my grandmothers. Chivalry is important. You open doors, you pull out chairs, you know, you don't, you know, it's what did Will Smith say? Open doors, pull out chairs, easy on the swears. So there's a lot of things that I carry in my life. And sometimes I feel like Captain America, a man out of time, where I was born during chivalry. I crashed into the ocean. They thawed me out of the ice. I'm here in the 21st century going, what is this world right now? You know?
We're looking at you like you're a Neanderthal. No, but see, Dan, it's easy to, when you put your goals on paper that are just you control those. When you add other people into the mix, that's what makes it so hard. And unfortunately, I was never the one dreaming of a white wedding and kids. And I was always my next, I need to go make the Olympic team. I want to go play pro. And I had you move a lot. And so from a relationship standpoint, I was never the one that dreamed of being married. I never had that in my wheelhouse. And so marriage and kids, I thought would eventually come if I met the right person, but I never had a timeline. And maybe I was selfish. I had all personal goals. You know, I want to make it, and I want to accomplish this, and family and kids, I think always took a back seat. And maybe because I'm an only child too. It was different for me, but you are right. And I tell my girls all the time, because I coach young women, that you need to be with a man, because they all love bad boys. They all, I don't know why, but you know, rock stars and bad boys, and that's the girls they love it. And I tell them, you need to find a man that treats you right, that respects you, that does all the things you just said, because that's the man you'll spend the rest of your life with, and they'll treat your kids that way as well. And I don't know. And again, that's you now. You got to find that right match that's looking for that. You know, it's coming, and all of a sudden, it'll just, when you least expect it, when it hits you in the face, you'll be like, oh my God. And that's where it's meant to be.
Yeah. And it's, you know what, Tammi, I'll tell you that at this point, I would rather run the run of the bulls in Spain than have to deal with dating right now. So rather just run with them bulls. And I got that in my blood. But, you know, music pushes us both. We love music.
Yes.
And you and I figured out that we genuinely like the same music. So one of the things on our inaugural episode of Reiss's Pieces is to talk about music. So top 10, when we were going to talk about R&B, right? R&B, get that real music out, the real R&B, not what these people listen to today. And then they think that, you know, Chris Brown does a little bit of, and this guy does a little bit of, no. So top 10 R&B groups of all time. My list is extremely hard. I know who's at the top. I don't really know how the rest of my 10 float out, but I'm gonna let you go first.
I'll start with number 10.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go from my lead to my favorite. Number 10 for me is a tie, my college days, and I'm going with SWV and Guy.
Okay.
And it's a tie. So I got two one all female, one all male groups, but got me through college. Some of the best dance through our little, we had our little house parties, and some of the best red light specials in the basement.
I'm going to say my number 10, and only because I know like one of their songs, every time it comes on, I lose it. And the first time I ever heard the song was on Nickelodeon's All That when they performed it live, and that is Candy Rain. So I have to say Soul for Real is my number 10.
Oh my God.
I got to give it to them.
That's awesome.
I got to give it to them. Who's your
That's
number
awesome. 9? My number 9, I'm going way back because this group kicked me off later in the group, but I watched every special. I grew up on their music.
Okay.
Number 9 for me is the Temptations.
Okay, fair enough. My number 9, I do have the Temptations on my list a little bit higher. My number 9 is a group that commonly got confused. If you were on Napster, Napster commonly said that Boyz II Men sang these songs, but they were sung by All for One. All for One is my number 9.
And I think their lead song, one of my favorite movies of all time, Just Friends, the opening is sung by Ryan Reynolds, and it's that song. But great group. Love them as well. My number 8 is Jodeci.
Okay.
That's all I got to say. Is Jodeci.
You know what? I'm gonna have to agree with you on number 8 because like I said, my list, I am at the top. I know, but I'm like still like, where do I put? So I'm gonna stay number 8, Jodeci, with you as well. I will keep that at number 8. What's your number 7?
My number 7, I'm kicking off again. And now we're going old school, but this is true R&B, and I'm going Earth, Wind, and Fire. And September is one of my favorite songs.
And see, and Earth, Wind, and Fire is on my list as well. What is the song? Will Smith sings it in Hitch. I think he sings the song The Reasons. Yeah, he sings that when he's high on Benadryl. So
yes. Yes.
So Earth, Wind, and Fire is on my list, but they're not my number 7. My number 7, I'm going to put them here because I don't know their music as well, but they gave us who I consider one of the greatest of all time. And so I'm going to have to say the Jackson 5 is my number 7.
We have similar taste. Mine's a little bit up the line, but
okay.
You know, I grew up on the Jackson 5. Can't complain. I'll get number 7. Mine's a little higher.
Yeah.
Number 6 for me, and one of the greatest songwriters of all time, is the Commodores with Lionel Richie.
Okay.
Loved the Commodores. Love Lionel Richie. And again, some of the best songs for me growing up all time.
My number 6 is going to have to go to a girl group that I respect, appreciate. They just knew. They brought that sexy. They brought that smooth. They brought that rhythm. I got to give it up because there's 2 of them I got on my list. I got to give it up, number 6, to En Vogue. I got to give it up.
And I didn't have them, and they were awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, a great, unbelievable group. Good choice. I like that. And they're still rocking it today.
Yeah.
They were just on the BET Awards, I believe, and they sounded phenomenal.
And I just realized I left somebody off my list that I'm going to have to tie the next one, but go ahead.
My pit bull, she agrees with you. She's barking, clapping. That was a good one.
Nice.
My number 5 is the Jackson 5. And for me, growing up, I'm old enough to know the cartoon. But Michael, they gave us the greatest, and their dancing machine, their robot, some of the best live performances of all time. And so my number 5 is Jackson 5.
Fair enough. My number 5. So as you have the Jackson 5 now, and I had them before, you had this group before, and I have them now. My number 5 is the Temptations, because I can't help but, you know, I find myself, I'll be in Wegmans and I'll just start, you start shoe-hopping, do your little thing.
Yeah.
So, I was like, I said, there's a part of me that I would love to be that guy in that group, 4 or 5 people, and you're doing your thing, and everybody's dancing in unison, and then you get to be the guy that comes out because they know that that's the guy. So I would have to say the Temptations, because they're the dancing, the unison, they paved the way for a lot of cool stuff.
And they did. And their made-for-TV movie was absolutely incredible. It was good. It was very good. Nice. Well, my number 4, I'm going to an all-girl group. Hit me when I got in college, my first year, and just had, like you, they had the swag. They were crazy, sexy, cool. And my number 4 is TLC.
Almost with you. My number 4 is Earth, Wind, and Fire, because TLC made my top 3.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Good. Again, an unbelievable group, revolutionary, especially for young women. And it was during that hip hop craze, and they were just hot. They were good. So I loved them. Good. My number 3.
Yeah.
I don't think many people appreciated this group. Early 80s for me was big. They had a lot of hits, and they just got me dancing. And I really felt them. My number 3 is Kool and the Gang.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I can feel that. See, you're saying things to me that are making me want to go back and stare at this list again. My number 3 is a tie. My number 3 is a play-in game, for those of you with that tournament love. My number 3, because I could not choose, is TLC and Salt and Pepper. I had to put, because Salt and Pepper just changed. They changed the game for me. Everything about, like, I can see their video in my head that I watched when I was like, I don't know, 7. So Salt and Pepper for me, like, they were not appreciated as much as they should be. I really like TLC, but I put Salt on the same line. I put Salt and Pepper right there with them, so I had to make them tie for 3.
See, I put Salt and Pepper in hip hop.
Yeah.
Even though they crossed over within Vogue and they crossed over with certain, groups, I went more hip hop with them. So if I had to put them in, they would have made this list if I put them in R&B. But I have them in the hip hop genre. My number 2 is one of my favorite groups of all time. I love these guys. When their love songs come on, I stop. The radio goes up, and I know every word, and I scream at the top of my lungs. I saw them 4 years ago, opening for New Kids on the Block. And my number 2 is Boyz II Men.
Yeah, and you and I talked about this a little bit before, and where we put our 1s and 2s. My number 2 is New Edition, and we all know that's one of the members of New Edition, Michael Bivins. He found Boyz II Men. So New Edition, even though they found Boyz II Men, New Edition is my number 2, because I agree with you, but my number 1, because I stopped, and the radio, I don't care where I am, what I'm doing. You better hope I'm not somewhere in public, because you're going to hear it. It's going to be real. Like, I cannot keep my mouth shut or my body from moving when I hear Boyz II Men. New Edition's close, but New Edition's number 2.
And my number 1, like you, I'm older than you. So 15 years, when you're a little 9th grader running around at basketball camp and Candy Girl came on, or Telephone Mr. Telephone Man, or you lost your mind. And they were the first all black, really R&B group, little boy band, other than the Jackson 5, that really started the boy bands. Yeah. There was no NSYNC. There was no New Kids on the Block came after New Edition. So as a little girl, this boy band, you fell in love with them. And then they gave you Bobby Brown. And they gave you My Prerogative, they gave you Bobby Brown. So for me, in the history of it, New Edition played a really key part of my youth. And I just love them to this day. Whether it's Bobby or Johnny, don't matter. For me, New Edition's number 1.
My number 1.
We got similar tastes.
We do, very much so. And our top 10 was very similar, and just a couple off of each other. And we didn't know the list prior to, folks. We're not going to ever know. On Reiss's Pieces, we're not going to know what we're choosing here. Boyz II Men is my number 1. I'll Make Love to You, On Bended Knee, End of the Road, Yesterday, Thank
Mama,
You,
come on.
All Around the World, Song for Mama, Vibin'. Like, there are so many. 4 Seasons of Loneliness. to
Oh yeah.
Color of Love.
Motown Philly.
Yeah, I mean, in Color of Love, I performed that at my high school. So I would tell you beyond a doubt, the group that I trained my voice to, 7 years old, trying to hit Wanye notes, every day listening to it. I had 2 tapes busted. I had to buy a 3rd tape of their 2nd record, Boys to Men 2, because I had used it too much. I will tell you beyond a doubt, it's 5 times platinum in the real world. It's infinity platinum in my life. Boys to Men 2, that album, Jezebel, like all of those songs. I would tell you, I have all the Boys to Men stuff. I love it. Doing Just Fine. You know, there's so many songs that people don't even know that Boys to Men did. So, you know, and that How Do I moment where he hits that, I got to finally see them at Epcot, and Wanye stood under the spotlight, and he said, "How do I?" And he held the note, and then he goes, no, let me do it again. And he did it again, and I got chills, and I was just like, man, I can't believe I'm here. Like, I'm seeing Boys to Men. I'm losing my mind. And they actually came to the restaurant I worked at down in Florida at Sci-Fi Dining Theater, and you're not allowed to like talk to them or bother them, whatever. So I was carrying forks back and forth. It wasn't even my job. I carried the forks back and forth from their table 3 times just so I could stare at them while I walked by. So shout out to Michael, Nathan, Wanye, and Sean. You changed my life. And I said, if and when I get married again, Boys to Men needs to be a.
And what's your song going to be? What's your wedding? Huh?
What's my wedding song going to be? I would say, Color of Love, maybe. That's a good one. I would say Color of Love, or I would probably, and you know what? For my groomsmen, it would be Thank You. It would be that song, because I love that.
That's nice.
It would be. But All Around the World is one of my favorite songs, and people don't even know that song. So.
Yeah. Now, if you're a true fan, you know, every one of their songs, you can play the album straight through, and you appreciate it. That's the sign of a great musical artist, and they are. For me, again, from a love song standpoint, no one comes close for me. But New Edition for me, the Steps, just like the Jackson 5, man, they had it. Like, they had the charisma, especially as they got older. If it isn't love, that whole riff, that was sharp. They were sharp. So for me, both of them, I just love them. They're very close. Very, very close.
Can You Stand the Rain?
Good list.
Can You Stand the Rain is one of the best songs ever. Ever. So that leads me into our top 10 individual R&B people of all time. Top 10 individual R&B singers. I have a list of like 20, but let's try.
I did too. There were so many, but I went to people who really influenced me, like great artists, not just people I love, because I love everybody.
Yeah.
But you could be a great R&B artist, but your career was like this big, and you were very insignificant according to, you know, your body of work. So I had so many that I really had to sit back, and this took me a while last night, Dan. I had to sit back and really analyze, okay, who had a profound effect on me and my taste for music. So I'm going to let you start this one.
All right. My number 10, because I count him as R&B because he was part of New Edition, is Bobby Brown. Now, I put Bobby in this list, and the reason why he's number 10 is because everybody else, like Bobby, My Prerogative, I listen to that song on repeat over and over and over again. I love that song. I would dance to that song. There's so many people that could be on this list, but I gotta put Bobby at number 10. Bobby, forgive me, because I had to put him there because everybody else here. But R&B has captured the essence of my life, and it has spoken to me my whole life. And it's really just so much rhythm and blues. I mean, that's what we've gone through, right? We talk about life, Tammi, and we talk about, the rhythm of going through life and the ebb and flow and dealing with the negatives with a positive mindset, positive heart. So, R&B speaks to me because it's a lot to do with love. And Bobby's got to be my number 10, even though I could easily put him higher. Who's your number 10?
my number 10, like you, and the reason he's number 10 is because he married Whitney Houston, and in my opinion, helped contribute to where she is today. That's why I put him at number 10 and not higher. I've still got a little. I got a bone to pick with you, Bobby. But for me, Bobby Brown's number 10 as well. Just that album alone for me was huge, and you could play that album straight through. And so when he broke from New Edition, really that first couple of years, you couldn't touch Bobby. And again, his onstage performances were just incredible. So for me, Bobby Brown's number 10 as well.
Well, it's funny that we started off the same. I know I got some people coming in here with some other groups and favorites here. We're doing R&B today, but I saw some people like, Kiss, the Beatles, Elton John, put some stuff with their Rolling Stones.
No, that's for another day. The rock is, don't worry, I love me some rock too, but that's another day.
That's another day. So R&B, my number 9 has to be, I'm putting her lower on this list, and you might have qualms with me on this. Some people might have qualms with me on this, but this woman, it's because she's been lip syncing and she's been trying to make excuses for herself, and she is a diva by definition. Green M&Ms all day.
Not Mariah.
It's Mariah's number 9. Only because she gave me all of that as a kid, but as an adult, she just...
And then took it away.
She's dropping on me. She's dropping.
She's back now, though. Have you seen her sing live now? Oh,
I haven't seen her live lately, no.
Very good, actually. Got it all back. I think she just, I don't know, she derails sometimes. Out of practice a little bit. Good. No, she's high. She's up. I thought she'd be lower on that list. But okay. My number 9 is both old school. One of them's the smoothest brother that ever sang. And the other one was just funky. When I mean funky, I mean funk. So it's a tie between Stevie Wonder, I grew up on the Keys of Life, and Luther Vandross. This house ain't a home, baby. And both of them, Luther for me was just silky smooth as a young, but both of them. And about equal for me. So they come in at number 9 as a tie.
My number 8. I'm going to have to, I'm going to have this one. She's going to share it with her father, because I knew a little bit of his, but a lot of it of hers. My number 8 is the greats, Natalie Cole and Nat King Cole are my number 8.
Nat King Cole. Very nice. Actually, that is pretty good, because I'm a huge Natalie Cole fan. My number 8, I'm going back to the Queen. And she gets her respect from me. Grew up on Aretha Franklin. Love Aretha. Any of her songs come on, you just feel it. You feel the heartache. You feel the passion. So I love me some Aretha Franklin. She's my number 8.
I appreciate and respect Aretha. I didn't know her music as much as these other ones. That's why she didn't make my list. So my number 7, wow. My number 7, it's such a cross, because the people that I like are some people that I feel like people don't even know that well. But my number 7, I would have to give it to Johnny Gill. I'm going to have to give my 7 to Johnny Gill because of because you said people that transform you, people that, really did something to your life. And there's a couple guys that touched my heart and spoke to me that, to this day, I'd want to be around them. But nobody hits that Can You Stand the Rain like Johnny Gill. Hits the same note about 17 times in a row at the end of the song. Man, they lost Bobby. They got Johnny. Like, it's like you lose an MVP to get an MVP. So, I just, man, Johnny Gill, he's something else, but he's not as high as I can put some of the other ones. He's my number 7.
Great choice. My is one of my favorite Johnny Gill songs. And just an underappreciated, like that boy could sing, and I mean sing, with some of the best of them. I just didn't think he ever got the recognition he deserved or the career he deserved, because from an R&B standpoint, he was bad. He was a bad boy. Good choice. My number 7.
Thank you.
God, she's calling me now. She spans decades for me. The first time I saw her perform live. I was little. And I watched this crazy woman with these unbelievable legs and this crazy hair. And then she reinvents herself and she goes pop, rock. I don't know what she is, but she's a little bit of everything mixed into one badass woman. And my number 7 is Tina Turner.
Yeah, I can see that. When you said, I knew you were going to say Tina, by the way you were describing her. And I remember Tina Turner. This is like random, but you think about things that like you smell something and it brings you back. I think of Tina Turner. When I think of her, when you said her, it brought me to my aunt's house. My mom's sister, my Aunt Donna, brought me to her house where my mom stayed. My mom and I stayed in that one room as a kid and had my little TV. And I used to listen to Tina Turner because my aunt likes Tina Turner. So my number 6 is a tie between Tina Turner.
I got a tie too.
Yeah, I got a Tina Turner tie and one of the sexiest, most vivacious, strongest voice. Nobody sounds like her. Game changer. Would have married her in a minute if I met her back in the day. Toni Braxton.
Oh my God, that's one I left off my list. And unbelievable album. Her first album was unbelievable. I used to listen to that driving from my house to college and just put the whole album on and you could just listen it through. God, that brings me back to Toni Braxton and Brian McKnight. Just throw them in and just mix them up. Great choice. Unbelievable choice. God, I missed that one. I got a tie too at number 6. Mine is, again, both unbelievable songwriters, both unbelievable piano players, Lionel Richie and Alicia Keys.
Okay. All right. See, to me, I feel like we need to do like this because we've been going nostalgic. We have to do like a more recent one because John Legend would be on my list as well, but he's not in this one. And so I would say my number 5, I got ties galore going on right now. My number 5, and I'm going to do this based on the fact of my top 4 have really touched my life in such a way where I can go back to their music if I need to get an emotion out. So my number 5, because I got to keep my number 4, my 4 the way they are, my number 5 is going to be Whitney Houston.
And see, brother, I could come through this phone and strangle you right now. But that's just because, again, it depends on who touches your life right in a certain way.
And
but you can't say
just
anybody,
not as much as the people that are coming.
Exactly. And so everyone's different. So I'm going to give you a pass. But I know you can't say anyone in her prime. And every music teacher, every vocalist, and they'll say it, there was no one that could touch her, ever. And I've seen a lot of these people live. So good. All right. At least Whitney made your list, so I respect you.
She made it.
A great deal.
She made it.
Good. My number 5, you had her, but she was way higher. And again, her first album, Vision of Love, when she hit that dog, when dogs started turning their heads, for me, early Mariah Carey, Always Be My Baby, Emotions. Before she split and went crazy with Butterfly, early Mariah Carey, she was just a godsend. Like, I thought, wow, she can sing. So for me, number 5 is Mariah Carey.
And I feel that. I can understand that. You know, Mariah, like I said, she let me down over the last couple of years, which made her drop on that list. But, you know, my top 4 are people that I could listen to at any time, and they're really game changers. There's one of them that I was going to put at 4, but I know I can't because I have to go by Change My Life, but I also have to go at Talent. And so one of the guys moves up the list where some of the other ones I listen to their music more. But my number 4 is a man who people forget, who people don't understand how good he was. His first album was insane. I have it on cassette tape still. This gentleman, way before he made the song Back at One, way before everybody thought he was mainstream, this man was killing it, changing my life. And you talk about how, you know, I remember being in the airport thinking about these songs Brian McKnight is a game changer beyond game changers, and he is not treated as high as he should be. So I'm making him my number 4.
There is that. Now, when you talk love songs and a lot of my breakups, you put his music on and you just listen, just like Tony Braxton, though. That's why I put him comparable. True story. I'm at a Whitney Houston concert. I'm by myself because I don't like people to come with me. Just leave me alone so I can watch her and listen. Sitting there, and who's sitting in front of me? But I'm in the first 3 rows because I'm in her fan club. I got Kid and Play here. I got Regis Philbin and his wife here. And then I got Brian McKnight and his boy in front of me. So Brian turns around and he says, hey, I'm a huge fan of the WNBA. Aren't you Tammi Reiss? You played for the Utah Stars. He goes, you're coming to LA. Let's hook up. Give me your card. Dude gave me his card. We're talking the whole concert. B's going crazy. Whitney's, it's the body. He's going nuts. When she sings, she closes every show with, you know, I will always love you. And dude's like singing along. I'm like, it was incredible. We talked the whole show. True story. In LA. It was awesome. So I love me some Brian McKnight.
I wanna be Tammi Reiss back in that day. People always say, what would you do if you could jump in a time machine and go back in time? I would be sitting with you at that concert, experiencing that. That would be that would have been. He was
the coolest.
Brian McKnight singing to Whitney Houston's song in front of you. I would have lost my mind.
And and then he used to be at all our games, supporting the LA Sparks, like just the best guy ever. And I'm a huge fan. Love him to death. My number 4 changed my life as a young girl. And I wanted to be her. I wanted to dance like her. I thought she was the coolest thing. And her brother got all the accolades. But when Janet hit, and What Have You Done For Me Lately came out, it was our girls' anthem. And Control, because we were young. And so for me, my number 4 was JJ, Janet Jackson.
You know, this list should have been a top 40.
It could have been. Very easily could have been. Because I missed B. McKnight and Tony Braxton alone together. Like, that was my bad.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, Janet wasn't on my list because of these other people that I had, but I love Janet. So that's the tough part for me. My number is these two people get misconstrued as each other. Some people go, oh, didn't Luther sing that? Oh, didn't Peebo? Luther Vandross and Peebo Bryson, they are not the same person. Peebo is the one that sang on the Aladdin soundtrack. Peebo is incredible. Luther, incredible. Dance with My Father is my mother's favorite song. I wanted to sit in a lab. Somebody said, if you could work with anybody in music, who would it be? Luther was at the top of my list. I hope I get to sing with him when I'm 100 and some odd years old and I go to heaven. I hope I get to sing with him on piano and just chill with Luther Vandross. Him and Peebo Bryson, I could not choose between the two of them, so I didn't. They both made my top 3 at number 3.
Great choice. Great. For me growing up, Peebo was huge. James Ingram, Peebo Bryson, Luther, they all used to get, because they were incredible. Good choice, man. Good throwback. Number 3 for me, it was the MTV era. And I remember seeing him on stage and he stepped to the microphone and he had 8-inch heels on and tight purple suit and he had a mullet. And dude started doing splits and singing Little Red Corvette. And I lost my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, who is this dude? Like, you thought Michael Jackson could dance. Then he hit the guitar and then Purple Rain came out. And I really lost my mind. For me, number 3 is Prince.
My number 2 is Prince. So, because I know who you got in your top 2. I know who you got up there. So Prince made my top 2. Luther and Peebo and Brian McKnight arguably gave me more in my life than I got from Prince. But I am trying to dive more into Prince now. But I love Prince. I appreciate Prince. And there's still that video of when he threw his guitar up in the air and it never came down because that man was magic. I don't know what he did, but Prince was some type of uncanny. And I would have loved to be in his mansion for one of those parties to just experience what Prince's life was like. But I have to give it up to the man, the artist formerly known, but still is, but wasn't, but then he was a symbol. Let's just call him what it is. Prince, you are number 2 because you're a prince to the king that's number 1 for me.
There you go. There you go. For me, again, it's my greatest female artist of all time and my greatest male artist of all time. And I was the first one in the area. I had that big satellite in the yard that was the size of the moon. My dad's out there cranking it for the first time MTV ever came on. And I'm waiting, and this video comes on of this guy in penny loafers and socks. And he lights up the thing, and he's dancing, and it was Michael Jackson. And I will never, we used to wait around every hour to play the Thriller video. Not only could he sing, and that wasn't, to me, even his best album. The one before that with Quincy Jones was his best album. But it just, seeing him live, I never saw, I was like, oh my God, he's back. He's not this little 6-year-old anymore. And for me, the greatest probably R&B artist of all time, performer too, for me was Michael Jackson. So he's my number 2.
Yeah, my number 1, like I said, number 2 is a prince because number 1 is fit for a king. Who taught me how to dance? Michael Jackson. Who taught me how to be who I am, in a way, to just feel the vibe and just be yourself? Michael Jackson, to me, it's one of the impressions I do too. But Michael Jackson he is an incredible performer. He wanted to heal the world and make it a better place. He wanted you to just jam. He wanted you to know that sometimes people are dangerous. He wanted you to know that life can be a thriller. He wanted you to remember the time. This man changed everything. He changed music. This is a man whose hologram, when it's 2148 on this planet, aliens need to be watching a hologram of this man. Disney had a ride about him. Michael Jackson cannot be duplicated. He cannot be overseen. He cannot be overlooked. His music was a game changer, and everybody goes to the Thriller album. But I will tell you that the tape I had as a kid that I now have on vinyl record has his eyes in a circus, and the album is called Dangerous, and it's one of the greatest albums ever created. You put that on for your potential significant other, she gonna marry you or he gonna marry you after that. That album is the album that makes me rock. And I will tell you, if I'm having a bad day, Dangerous is going on. So Michael, you are the king. I salute you. I miss you. And I really genuinely, since I was a little kid, I felt like I could almost feel his goodness in the world. I could feel him, feel that spirit. And there's a way, I don't know, I felt like, I still do. I feel like I can feel Michael Jackson in the air sometimes, because he was just, his spirit was just a different spirit. I think he was a misunderstood guy. I think he went through a lot as a kid, and for everything he gave us, he could have given so much more. And I'm sorry for everything how it happened at the end, but darn it, if that isn't one of the single greatest human being performers that we have ever seen in the history of any planet.
Exactly. And I feel the same way. It's funny how, I'll talk about my number 1, but my top 3 artists, they're all gone at a very young age.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how, when we talk about positivity and negativity, we find something so good and we build it up just so we can rip it down very quickly. And our media does that, and people do that. Yeah. And what we don't know, and we judge so quickly, instead of helping them, we want to obliterate them. And it happened to the number 1 artist that I'm going to say as well. For MJ and Prince, but MJ particularly, how we treated him after all he gave us, without giving him the benefit of the doubt and what we did to that man. I feel I feel very sorry for his family and for his kids and for his legacy. Because I just because we didn't understand him, I think we ruined him. And I feel very bad about that. Which leads me into my number one. For me, first time I heard her, I was driving to an AAU practice in 1985. And this woman comes on and she's singing. I'm like, damn, who is this? And then at the end they said, we have this new young artist. Her name's Whitney Houston. And the song was You Give Good Luck. And I had all my teammates in it. We're going to Mount Vernon to play. And they're like, damn, this girl can sing. And from that point on, I was hooked. And then you got How Will I Know and Greatest Love of All. And I remember my mom took me to her first concert, and I was young. And she was the voice was just, and how she sang in live, it doesn't even come. She could do anything. She didn't have to shake her booty. She didn't have to wear no clothes. She didn't have to do any of that. She would mesmerize you with the voice. And for me, for some reason, I just loved her from the first moment I heard her, and her songs just spoke to me and touched me. And that leads me into when a song comes on the radio, I don't care what I'm doing. I can be in the worst mood. I could have gotten in a fight with someone. I could be like, and I want to dance with someone who loves me comes on. I just hit that baby up and I just go. And I don't know, what is it, 25, 30 years later, 35 years later, that song just makes me bounce. And I just feel good. So for me, she's my queen. Michael's my king.
And I love that. And we talked in the last part for today was the song that you could hear any day and bounce to. And so you just said it, right? Is that the one you're going to pick?
That's my feel good one that makes me smile. And the beat of it is just, whether it was 35 years ago, they play it in commercials now because it's got that beat. It just makes you happy. When I need a happy song and that comes on, I feel good. And when I need a love song to take me to a place, any Boys to Men song, anyone, I'll Make Love to You, anything. I put the Mama song on the other day when I was thinking about a song for Mama, when I was thinking about my mother. And I'm going to do a montage for her birthday. That's the song that's going to play. So for me, any Boys to Men love song, when I need to get in my feelings, that's it right there.
Yeah, I would have to say my song any day, Boys to Men, anything. I'm gonna go new, and I'm gonna go to what I played like every day in the car that came on my Pandora is a song called Provide by G-Eazy and Chris Brown. I'll say that song now gets me going today in this moment. If I hear Provide, I can't help because they sample Return of the Mac, which I love that song. So I would have to say that, but yeah, anything Boys to Men, you got me. I could be in the worst mood, worst day. Somebody could piss me off. I could have somebody screaming at me in the car if Boys to Men comes on, and I'll be singing it the whole time. They're yelling, I'm singing, I don't even hear what they say. So Boys to Men takes the cake for me. They have to, but Provide for a recent song, G-Eazy and Chris Brown, that definitely is cool because I liked Return of the Mac, and I love that they made it all come together. So
nice. I have a question for you. What artist today, because I have a guy artist who I absolutely love that is like a throwback of Michael, Prince. You mix them all up and you throw them out. If they had a baby, I think this guy would be it. So what artist of yours like today that you just absolutely love, that from performing, singing, is there one guy that does it for you?
yeah, I think the guy that you're referring to is Bruno Mars. But I think the person for me that I think Chris Brown had some stuff, but you know, his off the field issues bother me. I like his music, but I'm not a big fan of him. Chris Brown. And then Bruno gives me Prince, and Bruno gives me Michael, and Bruno kind of gives me everybody. So I feel Bruno and I like Bruno, but the man that makes me stop, and I sing his music all the time, and he's one of the reasons why I want to learn how to play the piano. But I will try to hit those notes, and I don't care if he's singing with Kane Brown. I don't care if he's singing with Ella May, if he's by himself, you know. But the first time I ever heard him was on the Hitch soundtrack that I got to go back to again. The Hitch soundtrack, the first time I ever heard this guy was when he sang the song, Don't You Worry About a Thing. And it's John Legend.
Yes. Great. Great. Again, he reminds me of old school, you know, Lionel Richie. He's my Lionel Richie now. But, and again, I when I want to feel good and I want a performer, Bruno can hit you with some Temptation. He can take it, his music out. He plays drums, he plays piano, and then when he dances, dude, and his boys play with him, he's got the feel good band. And Uptown Funk for me, that's another song. When I want to feel it, Michelle Pfeiffer, that White Gold, when I want to feel real good, I hit that. And boy, he just gets me popping. He's just a cat that he's got so much flavor to him that I respect him. And he embodies it all. Like John Legend, hey John, let's have a dance off. He can't dance. So it was like Brian McKnight. Like it's like Whitney. Whitney can't dance. Whitney ain't jamming. So for me, I have like these specialties, and John's one of them because he can make you fall in love with a love song, like unbelievable. So nice. We have the same taste. We really do.
Yeah, and John Legend's the only person
Crazy.
that can, like, I can be like sad as all get out, and I'll still sing his song. Like I'll still be in his music even when like I'm sad about it. You know, like he's one of the only people that could sing anything, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm not feeling it right now, but I'll sing it. So John, yeah.
And he's a great guy. Like he's a great guy. Like great husband, great father, just a really remarkable human being.
Coming out with Bigger Love in the middle of the pandemic, and all those You Move, I Move that he did with Jhené Aiko, like that's just, you know, he's just the best. If John Legend comes on my Pandora, you know, I'm focused
You're
for the
good.
next 2:30, and then you can talk to me after that. So, that coming from Tammi Reiss, myself, Dan Tortora. This is the jump off of Reiss's Pieces. We'll be coming to you every other Monday. So the next time will be Monday, March 15th, right around 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, right here on Facebook Live, on facebook.com/live now DT. Tammi, thank you so much for everything. And I can tell you that I feel so much energy inside of my bones that once we get off this call, I'm going straight to my music. I'm going through the Rolodex, and I'm going to find something for myself.
Rolodex? Yeah, I'm going for a run. When I get off, walk a nice hour and a half, get out with nature. It's beautiful. And I put my headphones on. I'm going to hit off. I might go hit off some Tony Braxton and Brian McKnight just to pay homage. But you got my thoughts thinking. I might hit old school 90s, little Shy, little Profile, little Drew Hill. So I got you. This has been, it's got me pumped. I'm excited. I'm ready for the week.
Definitely
now.
a great way to start off the week. And we'll be doing it every other Monday. Tammi, thank you so much. This is Reiss's Pieces, and we'll talk with you soon.